Hello everybody and welcome to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson. And at the moment I am standing on my terrace here at Crystal Cottage about to do a video all about the two beautiful plants I have in front of me here in the area of my garden called the Courtyard Garden. Now these beautiful plants here have grown amazingly for me for the last 8 years. I planted out these 3 plants here late in 2016, and just to show you the amazing growth on these plants, I want to plot in some photos straight away to show you the great advancement of these plants during these 8 years. Now these are very slow growing plants the first many years of their maturing stage, and then all of a sudden they start growing very fast. And this year is the year that they've grown the fastest. After 8 years, they've put on a good 60 centimeters or so of growth in just one season. Now these plants have grown a little amount each year for me, but this year they've just gone crazy. And now, from the very first beginnings to this stage, they are up to 3 meters tall. Now, look at this. I am right up on the top of my terrace and I can just touch the top of these bushes, and at the moment you can hardly see me. Aren't they absolutely gorgeous? I really, really love them. These are the amazing Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Alumii, and they are otherwise known by their common name, the Lawson's cypress. And I just really, really love these plants. They've done exactly what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to be a coverage at the front of our terrace here so that you can't see down underneath, in under the terrace. The only thing is, I found out now, after all this time, that I didn't plant exactly the right amount as I wanted. I really, really wanted to cover the whole of the edge of the terrace. Now, if we go over here, you can see there's a gap, and down here you can actually still see in underneath my terrace. So my idea is I'm going to actually go in and plant another one of these plants here and another one on the other side. I have one on the right hand side of my steps and 2 here on the left side, so I need 3 and 2, and then I'll be very happy. But as I said, they're slow growing. So I'm going to try and find myself 2 examples that are at least a meter tall or a little bit more to plant in, so I don't have to wait years and years and years for them to catch up with these plants here. But the catching up doesn't really matter, because I'm going to start now for the first time pruning these bushes back. They've got taller than my terrace, and they are going to start covering our windows here and our view out to the garden, and that wasn't the whole point. I only wanted them to get to this height at the top of the stairs here, and that was it. So I am going to now give these a prune back. But anyway, first let's have a look at the photos I said I was going to put in to show you how these plants have grown the last 8 years. So here you can see a picture of our cottage in September 2015, and this was just before I bought this cottage. And you can see there is nothing in front of our cottage here except grass. So these plants weren't even planted. So the previous owners had nothing in front of the stairs here, and I wanted to change that up. I ended up buying this cottage on the 5th of October 2015, and well, that of course is when things started to change. You can see in this picture here, which was taken in July 2016, that there are still no bushes in front of our cottage here. And later in the year of 2016, I planted out these bushes, so that in January 2017, as you can see in this fabulous picture here, with all the snow, you can see my bushes fighting the winter weather. And at this stage, they are only around 50 to 60 centimeters tall. And these plants are very robust. I planted them out. I left them to their own devices, watered them now and again with a watering can because I didn't have a hose or anything at that time, and they managed to settle in and get through that first winter and carry on surviving. This is testament to this plant's ability to cope with cold temperatures, because at that time we got down to temperatures near enough to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Then we have this picture here from August 2017, and you can see our wonderful small bushes here during the summer season, and how cute they look, but how small they are compared to now. And in this picture here, also taken in August 2017, you can see how I organized the borders. Now, my idea at that time was I wanted evergreen plants flanking the steps so that we would have evergreen plants to look at all year round. So I planted some Boxer sempervirens balls around my Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Alumii, and it looked wonderful for the first year or so. And then, as I always do, I end up changing things up to the way my border looks today. A lovely wildish border of perennial plants in front of these lovely big tall bushes. And I don't need much more evergreen now because of the size of them. This picture was taken in February 2020 when we had our water pipes installed to our cottage so that we had fresh water for the first time. And you can see how small the bushes were in 2020 still. So that was 4 years ago from this present moment now in 2024. And you can see the bushes are nowhere near the top of our terrace at this time still. And then this picture was taken in April 2021 where we had a lot of snowfall, and you can see how these plants are coping very well with this. The only thing is that they can, if they get too much snow on them, fall out to the sides because of the weight. So I do go in with a stick and bang these plants to get as much of the snow off as possible to keep them upright. But other than that, I've only ever had a couple of the stems snap so that they haven't been able to raise themselves up again and had to prune them back. But otherwise, even if they fall out to the sides, they bounce back and stand up again after the snowy season is over. So here you can see the bushes in August 2022, and they have gotten even taller, but they're still not at the top of our terrace yet. So they're actually looking perfect at this time. And the color of them has become more of this silvery gray green color, which is absolutely beautiful as the sun comes round and gives the bushes different tones. And I can see that the maturity of their leaves has changed from a thicker mass at the bottom to these spires that are growing up and a little bit more of a lofty feel. And then here in April 2023, you can see the bushes have grown even more, but even here, they're still only just at the top of our terrace. And we still have a view over into the garden. And even last year, in 2023, I was thinking, yes, very soon I'm going to have to go in and prune these bushes back, but I left it. And now we're at the present time where I have to get something done. So now we are standing here in September 2024. And as I said before, my plants are way up over the top of my terrace. So now I'm going to do what I haven't had to do for the last 8 years. I'm going to prune these back. Now, I am so dubious of doing this because I absolutely love the shape of them. They are just looking fantastic, and I don't want them to fail or get upset in any way, but I've got to do something. I can't leave them like this any longer. So what I'm going to try and do is go in and prune back so that I can hardly see where I've pruned, because I still want this rough look. Now, I could go and get my hedge trimmers and just trim the top off and have a flat top, but I really don't want that look. I love the rugged look. I love that they look like steeples or spires or mountains, and they've just got their own personalities and they look wonderful, so I want to keep that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and try and find a little space, cut back, and keep this shape as much as possible. So there's nothing to do about this except to start. I see the top of my terrace is here, so I want to go in a little bit lower. And I'm thinking that when I do this, I want to try and make sure that wherever I cut, I have small stems at the front and the sides of where I'm going to be cutting to hide the top as much as possible. So this is the first one. Oh, I really am afraid to do this because these plants have taken so long to get this tall, and now I'm just going to cut them down again. But anyway, here we go. This is the first one. Gone. There you go. My first piece taken away. Put it on the side because I do have an idea that I'm going to try and plant those out as cuttings. Now, this piece that I've just cut is still way taller than my terrace, so I'm going to have to actually take a side branch off here and lower it a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. There we go, another little piece is off. Now, I'm going to take this big tall one you can see here in the middle and see if I can bring it down a peg or two. So where do I have branches? I can take it down around here, I think. And some of them have got pretty thick, so it's hard for me to get through, but there you go. There's another big, beautiful piece taken off. And at the same time, I absolutely love the smell of these bushes. So it's quite enjoyable working with them like this. Another one here that has a double top. And I'm going to take one and then the other one out. Just like this. And there we go. A little bit more taking off. I'm going to end up with so many pieces of these bushes. Now, this one needs to be taken around there, one there, and another one here. Another couple off. And I'm hoping you still can't see that I've done anything. Another one here. Just going to take that off down to there. And there's one here that's still a bit too tall, so I'm going to just take that back a little bit like that. Perfect. I feel like I'm starting to get there and it feels good. Take that one just because it was a little bit tall still. And another little one here. Yeah. Another one here. They're coming off very easily and I can't see where I'm pruning back, so I feel confident about this. One here. Another one. Now I'm going to have to come down here because I can't reach this one at the front. It's really, really tall. And I want to bring this down quite a lot. So I'm going to go down to here and it's very thick and it's gone. There you go. Another big, thick piece. And you still can't see where I've pruned it. And then I have another one. It needs to go off here. Yes. And then I have that one over there. I'm going to try and see if I can get it from the top here. It's a bit difficult for me to get out there. And take it back to around here. Yes, there we go. So look at that. I've reduced my bush quite a lot and it still doesn't feel like I've done anything. And now I can just, if there's anywhere I feel that's a little bit too tall, just slightly prune away, little bits and bobs, and keep that effect going that I want, of different heights and so forth. These ones, a little bit too tall here. Some of these little pieces I don't need anymore, and that's why I'm just throwing them straight down to become a part of my grass. Now I really hope you can see what I'm doing, because I've just noticed that the shadow is coming more and more around the corner and it's hard for you to see, but I can't do much about that. And there we go. I feel like I'm done with these 2 bushes here. They are around the same height as my terrace. They still give me this wonderful evergreen look, and I'm happy with the outcome. So I don't want to do any more here. I'm going to go over to my second bush and get that finished, and then I can show you the final result. So now I need to get down to the front of my bushes to see if I've got them around the same height on both sides. It's a bit difficult for me to see without coming forward a little bit. So there we have it. I have my Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Alumii pruned back, and they still look fantastic. You can't see that I've touched them. They're a perfect height now, and I have this whole mass here that I just need to get into a bucket. A whole mass here of top parts that I am going to try and propagate and get me more plants from, because these plants do well as propagations as well. But to propagate them, I don't have a greenhouse, I don't have anywhere warm to keep them the whole winter long and so forth. So what I would do is I will get myself some plant pots, I will fill them with soil, I will place these cuttings in those pots, and I will leave them in my annex for the winter time and see if they survive and produce any roots. And if they do, I'll be very happy, because I've just got myself a load of free plants. But before I do that, I just want to show you what I do to help them along. So right, you can see I have this cutting in my hand. All I do is prune back all of the lower branches, just like this. So now you can see the whole bottom part of the stem is exposed. Now I am going to scrape off the bark to get into the cambium underneath, so that this plant would be able to suck up as much moisture as possible while it's trying to grow out new roots, so that it can support the leaves it has going on, which on this example and many of the others is quite a lot. And I'm not going to prune all that off. This one actually has 2 stems growing out, so the only thing I want to do is top the one so that it doesn't start competing with itself. If you have that many stems that are the same height, just chop some off so that you get one that is the leader. So I'll chop a bit more off here, and then we have the lead piece, and then we have the rest here to grow out around the edge. Now I have a good viable plant. This is pretty big. I mean, normally when you do this, you would just get a little tiny piece to give it a good fighting chance to be able to grow out roots that will support the top part of the plant. But I've actually done this with my Thuja occidentalis brabant and so forth, big pieces, stuck them in the ground after I've, you know, cut up the bottom just like this. And they've taken off in my garden. I mean, I've been so surprised. So I'm going to just carry on trying the same thing with bigger pieces of plant like this, because then it saves you some years waiting for them to grow out, because cuttings like this are going to take many years to get to any decent size that you'll be able to use as something that looks like something in your garden. You have to have patience. I'm just doing this for the fun of it because, well, this is all extra pieces now, so why shouldn't I try and make them into something while I have them, rather than just laying them on the soil to become a good compost for my plants. But there we go. I have now taken all of the bark off the bottom of the plant, so now it has plenty of space to be able to suck up moisture as it grows out. And then all that's left for me to do is place this in my pot and keep it moist, not soaked, because otherwise they will just rot out, but keep it moist, and then maybe this plant will be able to grow out lots of roots and become a lovely new plant for me, because I need more of these plants. So there are all my cuttings, there are my wonderful bushes. Let me now take you in for a closer look so you can see what they're looking like. So here we go, let's go and have a look at my bushes closer up. We'll start with the ones on the right hand side of the stairs. And there we go. You can see how beautiful they are. And with all of the lovely perennial plants growing around the bottom of them. They are just gorgeous, shimmering in the shadows here. And then my bush that I have on the other side of my steps here. Look at this beauty. Absolutely gorgeous. Look how thick it is as well. This bush is about 1.20 meters wide at the same time. Again, with lots of perennial plants around the bottom. But looking absolutely fantastic here. Let's have a closer look at this gorgeous plant and its texture. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. So now let's go up past all my cuttings I have here that I'm looking forward to sorting out. And here we go. You can see the top where I've pruned, and you can hardly see where I've pruned them back. Look at that, my annex behind. You can see all the way down to the bottom. The ferns growing down behind as well. That's just an old leaf on the bush there. And then the next side here. See how they're a perfect height to my terrace here, you see? And our window. So now they've become a perfect height again. Look at this. Just perfect. And again, you can hardly see where I've pruned them. Of course, when we get closer, you'll be able to see. But other than that, because I've pruned each stem one at a time, I've given the plant a chance to carry on looking more natural. Look at that. And again, all the way down behind, ferns growing down at the bottom. These plants are looking amazing. So if I go further back on my terrace, you can see the height of them. Just perfect for the height of our terrace fencing. A job well done, I think. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing these bushes closer up. They are absolutely fantastic. I am so pleased with them. And well, after 8 years, I've had to prune them for the first time ever. If I had them in another situation where they weren't in front of the windows of our cottage here, then I definitely wouldn't have gone in and touched them at all. I would let them carry on growing out to their full potential because they are absolutely wonderful plants when they grow out fully. I do have other examples in other areas of my garden that will be able to grow out much, much taller. So I'll have different styles of this same plant, which is going to be absolutely fabulous. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can prune your Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Alumii to keep a natural kind of look about them without shearing them completely on top so they're flat. These are looking a little bit more mounded, but they're going to grow out again next season and mound out even more again, so it's going to be perfect. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.